Die. Hello and welcome to another edition of the NFL Power Rankings podcast presented by Energizer. I'm Dan Hansis. My lovely co-host Colleen Wolfe also here. What's up, Connie Fox?
You know, the rain. That's what's happening right now. It was really difficult to drive here. I know every other part of the country deals with rain, but we don't really in Los Angeles. And I didn't even realize that my windshield wipers could go as fast as they went on the way here. So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's what's happening.
That's good that they're functional. Before we started, we were talking about what's some good rainy day music. And I played Creep by Radiohead, and then you came off the top turnbuckle with Stay by Lisa Loeb.
Such a good one.
I think we came of age in the 90s based on the choices.
No one knows what these songs are now. No one.
How are you?
I'm great. Feeling good. Feeling strong.
Season's over. Regular season.
Man, I feel like we've reached some type of finish line, even though nothing is over yet. But,
no.
I mean, for a lot of teams, season's over. But, I mean, this has been a while in the making, so I feel like this is a big milestone.
Can I tell you about the existential crisis regarding the power rankings that I have every year around this time on Sunday night?
Let's map it out. What's going on?
Sunday night comes, and obviously once Sunday Night Football this year was Lions and Packers is through, there are 14 teams that are still alive. There are 18 teams that are done. They do not play another game until next September.
Right.
In my mind, I struggle with the idea of the power rankings because to not play another game, isn't that to be powerless on some level?
Yeah, but different teams have different types of power at different times during the season. So
True.
Just because some of these teams end the season with more power doesn't mean that they have less power when you turn around just because they're not playing
I don't
anymore.
think any of that made any sense.
What do you mean? I'm thinking about
Okay, go
the
ahead.
Lions.
Let me try again to process that.
Okay.
Go.
So the Lions, at different parts in the season, they had different types of power. So
Yes.
they were struggling at certain points, but
Yes.
they end with seemingly a lot of power.
Right.
And just because
The power
they're
of
not
X-ray,
gonna continue,
X-ray vision, the power of super hearing, power of flight,
time travel, whatever you want.
Yes.
So just because they're not going to continue having power in games in the playoffs doesn't mean that they should be dinged for it.
Okay. And that makes sense now. What I did, I conferred with my colleague Greg Rosenthal while we were in the film room watching Sunday Night Football. I said, what do you think on this? And he made a point that helped me, and I thanked him for it, although I'll never tell him.
Okay.
No, I did. He said, consider the last show, the last power rankings of the regular season, whether the teams made the playoffs, didn't make. It's like a final snapshot of where the league was at that time. And that's why the Detroit Lions, par exemple, are in the top 10 of the power rankings.
You always say it's not the power standings.
How about that? So why don't we take a look at the top 10?
I would
top
love
8,
that.
First quadrant. Listen, we've only been doing this 18 weeks. It's not the top 10. We look at the top 8. No changes. Whoa, that has not happened all year. And you might think old Zeuser just mailed it in, but Niners 1, Bills 2, Bengals 3, Chiefs 4, Eagles 5, Cowboys 6, Chargers 7, Jags 8. No change, and that has not happened all year. I think some of
Pretty stunning.
I think some of that comes into play with how kind of wonky Week 18 is in general.
Yeah.
Not a lot to play for in a lot of cases, so I'm not going to make any big judgments, especially this high.
It is interesting, too, because even when you look at the rest of your rankings, teams only moved a little bit throughout the rest. But this top block, 1 through 8, nobody moved even a little. I find that really interesting the final week of the season.
There's one team that did give me some serious pause about whether I should move them, and we're going to get to them in a second. But why don't we start at the very top?
Okay.
I have, as I said, the Niners at number 1. Speaking of Greg Rosenthal, we've been kind of going back and forth a little bit where he's saying, well, if I were doing the power rankings, I would have the 3 AFC superpowers, 1, 2, 3, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, in some order. I don't know what his order would be, but that's my order. Here's part of the reason why I have Niners number 1. Well, A, they've won 10 games in a row.
Yeah.
B, they're beastly in all phases of the game with great coaching. C, Brock Purdy is a GD revelation at quarterback who's made them better, not just held the fort down. Their third-string quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, has made their offense even better. And 4, Connie, and perhaps most importantly, and this is not to disrespect your Eagles, I think they have the clearest path to get to Phoenix and the Super Bowl. Glendale, excuse me, people of Arizona.
The Niners, they're such a well-rounded team. They have so much talent. The team is built to win, and they have momentum, which is the most important thing this time of year for any team, no matter what. So you have to wonder about Brock Purdy, though, in the playoffs. Like, yes, it has been good so far, and they've been able to figure out ways to make the offense work well because they have playmakers like Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. But will things change once Purdy gets into the spotlight? Like, no rookie starting quarterback has ever made it to the Super Bowl, let alone win it. Rookie quarterbacks, they struggle in the playoffs traditionally, but this Niners team never feels like a traditional Niners team. And I feel like everything really changed for this team when they traded for Christian McCaffrey. When that happened in October,
Saved their season.
Everything really seemed to go up a notch for them. So you have this defense led by D'Amico Ryans, which is so nasty, so good, with Nick Bosa going all over the place. And the fact now that they get the Seahawks to play, which that pass rush just shut down Geno Smith both times that they played this year. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to do anything because you can't really run on the Niners. And then when you add in that pass rush going up against Geno, it's just, I mean, this looks like such a clear path. And then there's no one else that's really dominant in the NFC right now. No one's playing great, even if they have good pieces.
Yeah, why don't we hit the Eagles since we're here? Because the Eagles I have at number 5. Connie, they were in the number 1 spot for several weeks consecutively in November into December. And this doesn't mean that I don't believe that the Eagles can still be – they are the number 1 seed after all. They're the team that has home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It's just – and as an Eagles fan, Connie, when's the last time we saw the Eagles in full flight where you felt good about them?
I mean, I guess before Jalen Hurts got hurt, but even then they were playing without Dallas Goedert, and they were trying to make things happen in different ways. And now when you have Lane Johnson, hopefully he's going to be back and healthy. And this team just absolutely needs a bye with all of the injuries that they're dealing with. But it's not an easy watch right now. It's nerve-wracking to watch them do what they did, especially against this Giants team that was resting so many starters. And then you have that third quarter interception by Jalen Hurts, which was just a horrendous decision. Didn't need to happen. The offense could not execute in the red zone at all. And Hurts kind of looked a little rusty, so I'm glad he had this start. But aside from the little quick hits that they had, I mean, there were some issues, and there's a lot of things that they have to work on. The run defense is an issue as well. I have a lot of concerns about the team. Yeah,
you could feel that. You could sense that the Eagles fans are a little worried that this team peaked. We'll see. It is a very good, perfect setup where they get the bye and kind of reset themselves before getting an opponent in their building in the divisional playoffs. Obviously, they played a conservative game plan
Run the ball
to
more.
Get by the Giants. You didn't see Jalen Hurts playing in the way he was playing earlier in the season when he was healthy. I did think it was a little bit of a red flag to me that Nick Sirianni came out and said after the game, I know he was hurting, and he was hurting bad. It was like, how do we know if that was his status after 2 weeks off, how do we know now he's going to be himself again 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, and then why have him drop back and pass 42 times if they know that he's hurting bad?
Bad was an injury. They were up 16-0 at half. The Giants, give them credit for their backups fighting. Perhaps there was a different way to play that. Where else do we want to go in the top 8?
Okay, so I mean, we could go a lot of different places, but I think that let's talk a little bit about the Bills, because the Bills game, first of all, was so emotional with everything coming back for the first time after Damar Hamlin, and thankfully the good news with him continuing to progress, that made things, I think, a lot easier for everyone. But Nyheim Hines, what?
Very cool.
Hines time. I love it. This has got to be a thing. I mean, are you kidding me? 2 different kick returns
Build
for a
touchdown?
Statue. And then you have it like the last time that they had a kick return for a touchdown 3 years and 3 months ago, and DeMar's number 3. The players are holding up threes. Everything is seemingly going great. I love the Josh Allen touchdown to John Brown, too. John Brown, I mean, welcome back to the squad. They're bringing everybody back. Cole Beasley, John Brown. But I have some concerns as well. I feel like I have issues with almost every single team. And for the Bills, I'm worried about the Josh Allen red zone interceptions.
All right.
Like, there have been so many.
They keep coming.
And it was against a good Patriots defense this week. But Josh Allen was a little up and down, and their defense, can get them out of jams, and they have so many playmakers on offense to help them with that. But the drop issues from the pass catchers, too, are not doing them any favors either.
All right. I'm not worried, really. If anything, coming out of that game, I'd be like, Buffalo's defense was a little shaky there against the Pats offense. It was pretty bad for most of the year. But that was also kind of a weird, strange, emotional, unique setup that entire day. And they took care of business, got the win. I feel good about their chances. I mean, I know the Chiefs have the top seed, the bye. I have them behind the Bills and Bengals just because I like those teams a little bit more. But you could definitely make a case for any of those three AFC teams. I mean, let's be honest, Connie.
Yeah.
You look at the rest. Can we look at the second quadrant while we're here? You look at the rest of the contenders here. The Chargers at 7, Jaguars at 8 in the AFC. The Ravens I have at 14.
Yeah. Well, who knows what the quarterback situation is there?
Yeah, and perhaps one of those three teams I just mentioned goes ahead and knocks off one of those Titans and is in the AFC title game. But wouldn't it be stunning if any one of those three teams, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, is not representing the AFC in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I would be completely shocked. Those three teams feel like they're destined to get there, to get far. I mean, when you look, there is a huge drop-off after the Chiefs for sure in the AFC. I mean, you go to the Chargers, and I wonder who's going to come out of that game between the Chargers and the Jags, because the Jags took that first matchup in the regular season,
right.
But that came after Justin Herbert had got hit in the ribs on that Thursday night game.
Yeah,
that was his first game back.
Herbert,
they didn't have Keenan Allen in that game. But the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals, they're all so close, I think, in terms of talent. Like, do you feel like any one really is that much further ahead than the other?
No. The only thing you could say is that the Bills beat the Chiefs in Week 6 at Arrowhead. The Bengals, of course, beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead in the AFC title game. And, oh, yes, if the Bills and Chiefs play in the AFC title game, it will be at a neutral site connected to the Hamlin situation. So, yeah, I think it's a toss-up, though. And before we take a break, let's head back to the NFC and talk about the Cowboys, because my one thought when I obviously didn't make any changes in the top 8 from last week, the only one I thought about was the Cowboys, dropping them, and maybe I even had the lines too low. Maybe are the Lions a worse team than the Cowboys right now? I'm not so sure about that. So I kept the Cowboys at 6, but there are considerable reasons for concern. You talked about it with Josh Allen, Connie, with the red zone interceptions, which have been a kind of a bugaboo for him this year. Dak Prescott, he threw what should have been a pick 6 against the Commanders on Sunday, and then the very next pass threw a pick 6. And that is not the first time. That's a third pick 6 in 4 weeks.
Wow.
And in general, he has been careless with the ball at times. I'm worried about both sides of the Dallas experience right now.
Yeah, 15 picks in just 12 games. I feel like Dak has been kind of forcing a lot of throws since he came back from the thumb injury. And even though this team is putting up points since he's been back and everything else, I feel like their third down percentage is pretty good, but not in this game at all. I think they had there were a ton of 3-and-outs for them, right?
They no-showed.
Yeah, they had 10 3-and-outs in this game.
And that was a game that it turned out it didn't matter. But at the time when it was being played, it did matter. And they played like a team that didn't care and wasn't invested. And you could say, yeah, they'll turn and flip the switch on Monday night against the Bucs. But, first of all, the Cowboys haven't won a road playoff game in 30 years. 2, they have a extended track record of gagging in the playoffs in the Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott era. And I don't trust this team to flip the switch. I just don't.
Even against the Bucs?
Because you know what? The Bucs have been disappointing. They're the only team in the playoffs with a losing team with a losing record. But you also know that there's a chance that the Brady-Mike Evans thing could turn on.
Especially after Sunday.
And couldn't you, Connie, can't you picture it right now, early second quarter, Bucs 17, Dallas 3.
Well, yeah.
Can't you see that?
Yes, because I think the Bucks are this like sneaky, frisky spoiler team that no one believes in. And honestly, watching the Cowboys struggle was the only thing that made me feel better about the Eagles not putting the Giants away this week.
So do I have Dallas too high? Should they be like lower? Should they be? You think they should be closer to the Bucks? I would imagine. I have the Bucks all the way down to 15, just because they've given us a lot of evidence that they're not very good either.
Yeah,
like a lot.
I of course I'm going to say that you should drop the Cowboys. You should drop the Cowboys down to 32.
33. Yeah. All right.
But yes.
All right. So we'll see. I mean, listen. Before we take a break here, 49ers, Bills, Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles. Got the 2 Super Bowl teams. They're in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, because we always think that, and then there's a team that comes out of nowhere, like Cincinnati last year. And after the break, maybe we'll figure out who that could be. Whether it's this year or maybe even talking about next year.
Okay.
Yeah, start talking about next year too soon. All right. All right, welcome back to Power Rankings. Connie is going to tell you officially the second quadrant.
Amazing.
Teams
That's
9 to 16.
So great. At number 9, we have the Lions above some playoff teams here. I love that. Above the Vikings, who are at 10 in their division.
And the people of Minneapolis and the surrounding territories are totally cool with that.
They hate you. The Giants at 11, up 2 spots. And then the Packers at 12, down 3, missing the playoffs thanks to those Lions. You got the Steelers at 13, up 1. They missed the playoffs too, and I'm really sad about it. At 14, the Ravens, down 2 spots. I am, because I really wanted to see you know what? I have now a thing with Pittsburgh after being there. Christmas Eve. I am very impressionable that way.
You know what? You're right.
14.
I'm sorry I doubted.
Are the Ravens. I have no idea what's going on with Lamar Jackson there. 15, the Buccaneers in the playoffs. They had no movement last week, and then the same with the Seahawks at 16.
I'm really sorry that I questioned your sincerity.
I can't believe you would do that.
That was a bad job by me.
I like Mike Tomlin.
I did too. I like
seeing him see the scores, knowing what's going to happen, that they have no shot now. I just didn't like it for him.
You know, it was the peak, my favorite moment of the Steelers season. This will be the last time we talk about the Steelers, although we didn't really talk about it much all year. Is when Kenny Pickett threw the go-ahead touchdown pass against the Ravens on Sunday Night Football, and Pickett came back to the sideline, and his coach looked right at him and said, "Kenny bleepin' Pickett."
I love it. Yes. See, they're fun.
The Vikings are number 10.
Okay.
The Vikings are 13-4, and I wrote about this in the Power Rankings write-up on NFL.com, which you can check out at NFL.com/Power Rankings. All the hand-wringing about the Vikings, it could cease. It doesn't matter anymore because you could take them seriously like you typically would a 13-4 division winner. You could completely disregard them as a team that is not close to what their record indicates, that they've had a kind of fluky season. Go ahead, do that too. None of it matters because the good thing about the playoffs, Connie, is that it shakes out the pretenders from the contenders. And if the Vikings really are a team that wasn't that good, there's a good chance they get knocked off by the Giants this weekend. And if they end up winning a couple playoff games, that could happen too. There's no need to talk anymore about overrated, underrated. Now it's time.
Because it's a new beginning. It's a reset. This is a fresh season now, the playoffs for them. And we waited all season long for them to lose these games that they just kept winning. So now at this point, it's like, okay, maybe the Vikings are just the most resilient team in the entire NFL.
Right.
And maybe they end up winning it all this way. Maybe it's just divine intervention. But I don't really believe that. I thought that Kirk Cousins looked good in this last game. He was really dialed in that first half against a bad Bears defense. But still, that's a nice way to warm up before going into the playoffs. Will we see that Kirk Cousins in the playoffs, though? Will we see him like that against the Giants?
There's always that question about which version of Kirk shows up in a big spot. Now, you remember, Connie, very early in the season, Kirk in primetime against the Eagles. And I had literally never seen him look worse. And if they got by the Giants, and they'll be a favorite, not a big favorite, but a favorite to beat the Giants, that's when it's going to get really interesting because then they'll get, I don't know what it'd be, whether it's the Eagles or the Niners, but a big time Super Bowl contender. As far as the Giants go, the season's already a victory. I mean, the fact that a team that entered the season, and I don't know where I had them in the power rankings, but I can almost guarantee you it was in the bottom 5 or around that. They were 28, I'm being told.
Wow.
By Drew, the super producer behind the glass.
So quick.
He is. I mean, he's a stud.
This guy over
here with the quick trigger over here. That tells you the story of a success story, because you would have thought that this team would be more likely to have the number 1 overall pick in the draft than make the playoffs. So they're here, and it's house money, and that's why I think, again, we already knew this was probably going to be a close game. Knowing the Giants going to go in there loose and also rested after they didn't play any of their starters in Week 18, I think I like the Giants in the game.
They just played the Vikings on Christmas Eve, and that was such a close game. Again,
I think they lost on like a 60-yard field goal or something absurd.
61-yard field goal. And as soon as Greg Joseph lined up, I was like, it's fine. It's a wrap. Of course he's going to make this because that's what the Vikings do in these games. But for the Giants, their first playoff berth since 2016, and this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. Like, this was not what they were. Honestly, it reminds me sort of where the Eagles were last year. Not that the Eagles were rebuilding completely last year, but the Eagles with Nick Sirianni in his first season there. It was a year to sort of get everything together and figure out where you are and what you need, and they ended up in the playoffs playing the Bucs, which did not go great, but still house money for them.
Still building block, yeah.
Same with the Giants, and they're getting healthier too with Adoree Jackson coming back, their top cornerback. You have Xavier McKinney coming back too from the hand injury, their safety, so their secondary is getting better as well.
And I expect Daniel Jones played the best game of his career in the last Giants game that actually mattered, the Week 17. He had 4 total touchdowns. He threw the ball very well in Minnesota on Christmas Eve. I think he'll do that again. That's my upset of the week. I think the Giants knock off the Vikings. So, yes, I guess I'm still doubting the Vikings. But guess what? They could tell me and all those other doubters to shove it.
You know what?
By taking care of business.
Dan, you're consistent. And that's why people keep coming back to your power rankings.
Oh. I thought you meant like I'm a consistent a-hole. I thought that's what you were saying.
You are consistent.
Yes. Thank you very much. Let's see. Time now for Power Moves presented by Energizer. Let's take a look at the highest-ranking non-playoff teams, Connie.
Okay.
We talked about, we will talk about the Lions. You want to talk about a personal
keep
journey.
Talking about the Lions.
Connie, you and I had a personal journey with the Lions. They finished number 9. I've been doing the power rankings for 4 years. I was going to say 40 years.
Feels like it.
Yeah, and there was never a team that did not make the playoffs that finished in the top 10 until these Lions. The Packers at 12, very disappointing way to end their season, laying another egg at Lambeau Field in January. How many times has that happened? The Steelers, as we talked about, at 13, Panthers at 18, Pats at 19. That's just middle of the pack teams.
Right.
But let's focus on the Lions there because we covered them on the Hard Knocks podcast, which would be fun to revisit actually now after everything that happened in this really wild 9-8 season. And I think my favorite part of it all, Connie, and we played it on Around the NFL on Sunday night, Jamal Williams, who we talked about it. He won MVP of the week multiple times on our Hard Knocks podcast, and it jumped out to us like this guy is quite a character. Like he's kind of out there, even to the point I remember saying like, is this guy a little too much? And then he scores 18 touchdowns, breaking Barry Sanders' all-time team record, and then has one of the great post-game interviews ever. Can we actually hear a little bit of that? We'll listen to that later. But
great.
Go ahead. Now we get to see Jamal and the Lions build on this next year.
Jamal Williams, I mean, that interview alone, he just showed so much range, I thought. Really went from one end of the spectrum to the other. And that's sort of been the season for the Lions as a whole. They started, they stumbled, and we watched them grow as a cohesive unit. Like, Dan, I feel like the Lions are like our children, and we watched them learn how to walk and then drive. And now, like, look at them. Number 9 in the power rankings. I mean, Jared Goff was just such a surprise this season. I hope his merch brand at this point is just blowing up. The one that he had that we learned about in Hard Knocks.
Is it?
But he proved himself, I think, way more than a placeholder in Detroit. And they have some things to figure out this offseason. But I'm just happy that this ended with them knocking the Packers out of it if they couldn't get in themselves. And now Dan Campbell will return, and all of us will have another year at least of him.
And there will be expectations that they didn't have this year, but that's okay too, because they took the next step as an organization. You want to watch Jamal Williams, his postgame?
Yes.
All right, let's watch it.
Okay.
This is fun.
Stop playing us, man. We the Detroit Lions. We the Detroit Lions. Stop playing with us. I don't even watch TV, but I heard everybody already picked the Packers over us. Stop playing with us. That's all I got to say, man. Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mud.
I love that guy. And what you didn't see there, and what you didn't hear there was even better. Like, literally 2 seconds before he went into that, he was crying, emotional about a grandparent or a great-grandparent.
His grandfather.
That he's very close with. And he just pivoted and then went into that. I mean, what a character.
Emotional guy.
Love him. All right. You have anything to say on the Packers? I don't really, honestly. Kind of exhausted by the Packers, and
Christian Watson is good for them in the future. That's great.
They'll be fine next year if Aaron Rodgers is back. But I choose to disengage from the Aaron Rodgers drama, at least at this time.
Yeah.
All right. Before we say goodbye, Connie, I'm curious which teams you see making a big jump, not saying during next season. We're not going to get that crazy and look too far into the crystal ball. But what we can do is, how much can change just through free agency, through the draft, through trades in the offseason. When you look at some teams that are in the bottom half of the power rankings, who do you see as one that we could be talking at the first power rankings episode next summer? This team is ready to make a big surge.
I kind of can't believe that I'm going to do this to myself again because I spent all last offseason.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
On this train. And I'm going to take another ride on the train again because the Broncos just really, really fell apart from the very beginning.
You could say that.
If
Number
they're
27.
able to get a head coach in there that can really maximize the talent on the roster and avoid some of these back-breaking injuries that they had and bring it all together.
Well, the coach won't be able to do that.
That's what I mean, separately, and avoid some of those. That's just luck. But the defense played their minds off in this season, and you just have so much talent. Like from the very beginning, you had Tim Patrick going down, who was supposed to play a big role in the wide receiver room. And you just had so many things that didn't go their way. And they just looked so bad. It was a really terrible season for them.
But I guess my question to you is, so you imagine then, I'm guessing here, that they're going to hire a head coach that's a smart hire and then make some, obviously, additions to the roster. And then Russell Wilson, people will talk themselves into Russell Wilson having a big bounce back year. That's where you're coming from in this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and talk myself into it because honestly, the obvious team here are the Bears. They have the number 1 overall pick. They have so much cap space. They have $100 million in cap space, $40 million more than anyone else in the league. So with that type of money and those type of draft resources, you could trade down because you already have a quarterback. You don't need to pick number 1 overall there, and you can get a ton of other assets.
I mean, it's hard to believe, and I was stunned talking about it on Sunday night on the other podcast, how the Houston Texans and showing the disconnect between the organizational big picture and the players on the field just playing a final football game of the season, how much that could affect the trajectory of both organizations. The Texans dropping out of the number 1 spot and the Bears falling into it when they have a quarterback they believe in, which gives them the potential to take anybody in the draft that they're in love with, or more likely now, trade that number 1 pick to a QB desperate team and have a bounty, the type of draft bounty that if you handle it right, and I'm going to talk about a team that handled their draft bounty right this past draft, you could change the organization. So I'll pivot to the Jets.
You got to do a little Joe Douglas talk?
Joe Douglas. Now, the Jets obviously ended the season terribly, but it was a season that was wrecked by the quarterback position and a lot of offensive line issues. And I think the Jets are going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be, and I'm already uncomfortable about this as a forever Jets fan, a lot of people are going to be in on the Jets next August. Mark my words, because they will get a quarterback that people know. And that quarterback could be Derek Carr, maybe it's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but Zach Wilson is going to make his life hell in practice.
Oh,
That's
sure.
what he said, yeah.
It could be Matthew Stafford. Hell, could be Lamar Jackson. Yeah, you never know. All I know is the Jets are going to make a big splash and have a quarterback, and then people are going to look at an improved quarterback situation. They'll probably use a first-round pick or something on an offensive lineman and get healthier in that position. The defense is already one of the best in the league. Douglas nailed the 22 draft with Garrett Wilson, who could be the offensive rookie of the year potentially. Sauce Gardner is almost certainly the defensive rookie of the year. Breece Hall could have been the offensive rookie of the year before he blew out his knee, the star running back. So that's what the Bears can do a draft like that. They're cooking. The Jets could be a team that everyone sees as a favorite in the AFC East potentially. I'm going to go that far if they get a big-time quarterback.
That's really interesting,
Buzzy.
too, with Joe Douglas having ties with Baltimore in his past before he was in Philly with Lamar Jackson. I don't know if their time together there coincided, but you do have to think about Breece Hall coming back and Elijah Vera Tucker coming back and all of the issues that they had on the offensive line this year. Like, this is a team that they had such a good draft. Like, they really did. Garrett Wilson is, like, such a playmaker for them. And he's going to be so good for years to come. Like, that, you should be happy about it.
I am. I mean, it's hard. A Jets fan is struggling through the last 6 weeks of this year, but also if they have another solid offseason, this team will be locked and loaded and ready to make a run last year. One more team that sucked me in all through the year.
What?
It annoyed me. Because every time I kind of put myself out there for them in the power rankings, they killed me, the Raiders.
The Raiders.
And I think they're moving on from Derek Carr, and they could kind of scapegoat him a little bit in my mind is what they've done here, when I don't think it's necessarily the quarterback that's holding the team back. But if that Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady reunion is real, and it just feels like Tom – after 3 years in Tampa, post-divorce, looking for the next challenge in his career. Going to Vegas just kind of feels like you could connect the dots a little bit there. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. And I'm not saying Tom Brady entering his age 46 season is a guy that you pencil in for the Super Bowl, but also he still would be an improvement over Carr. And I think a lot of people, including even me doing the power rankings, would be like, okay, I'm going to jump them up about 10 spots and put him in the wild card race and maybe even can challenge the Chiefs.
And I think Davante Adams would be happy, would be fine if they said Tom Brady was going to come in there. But, you know, you have to wonder what players think, especially wide receivers at this point, looking at Tom Brady. Of course, he's the GOAT, but at 45, what is he going to be, 46 next year? Like, that feels like maybe you're pushing it a bit.
But we've doubted that man for a decade now. I think the other thing about the Raiders, it was the strangest season I really can never remember for a team in terms of they had the leading rusher in the league, Josh Jacobs, who's scheduled to be a free agent. They want to bring him back, and he said he wants to be back. But he had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Davante Adams had a monster first year there, okay? Max Crosby is on the short list of the best defensive linemen in the league. And you have Darren Waller, who's been banged up, but is one of the most dynamic tight ends in the league, the highest paid tight end in the league. There is talent there, and now they just need to put it together. Pressure on Josh McDaniels. All right. What else? Anything else we want to talk about?
You know, it's just nice to be back here on the power rankings.
It's good to be back. We took a week off last week. It was obviously a pretty sensitive, tough week for the league after the DeMar Hamlin situation. But, you know, I miss this, Connie. And this will be our last look at 32 teams for a few weeks.
Yeah, what's this going to be moving forward?
Okay, so here's the breakdown.
Since this is my first year doing power rankings, I don't know.
We say goodbye to 18 teams on the power rankings effective now.
Okay, like a Viking funeral. We just
Viking
push them
funeral. So next week's power rankings post Wildcard weekend will be a top 14. Then it will become a top something.
Love
you do
that.
the math. Then
Uh-huh,
a
go
top
ahead.
4.
Yeah,
And then we disappear, and then we'll come back after the Super Bowl with a full 32 look again. Then we're done.
Okay. All right.
Drew, the producer, how many shows do we have left?
Oh, we got him
That
on
was
the
his
mic.
voice.
We got him on the mic.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, my hand. I just.
Gotcha.
This is a.
Oh, damn it.
No, that was just in our ear.
He didn't.
No.
He didn't. We thought he was on the.
And I hurt my arm.
Great
Been
podcast,
attacked by
though.
a dog with excitement.
See what you do, Drew?
No.
The silent 8-foot assassin. All right. Till next week, thank you for listening. Heed the call.